Imagine closing your eyes right now, and instead of opening them a second later, you stay in absolute pitch-black darkness for an entire month. No sunlight, no glowing screens, not even the faint amber glow of a digital clock. Just you, your thoughts, and a world completely swallowed by shadow. If you've ever worn a blindfold for a few hours, you probably think spending 30 days in the dark would just be a bit boring, maybe a great excuse to catch up on some uninterrupted sleep. But prepare to have your mind completely blown by real neuroscience and psychology. Today, Quack is stepping into the ultimate sensory blackout to find out what actually happens to your body and brain when you spend 30 days in total, uninterrupted darkness. Day 1 starts off quietly enough. You might even feel relaxed, thinking this challenge is a walk in the park. But as the hours bleed into day 2 and 3, your body's internal clock, your circadian rhythm begins to utterly collapse. Without sunlight hitting your retinas, your brain stops knowing whether it is high noon or midnight. The pineal gland starts pumping out melatonin erratically, throwing you into a state of chronic, disorienting jet lag. Your sleep schedule shatters into tiny, chaotic fragments. You find yourself wide awake for 30 hours straight, followed by a sudden, heavy crash of exhaustion. Meanwhile, your other senses begin to go into hyperdrive. Every minor drip of a faucet sounds like a booming drum, and the texture of your blanket feels intensely strange against your skin as your brain desperately tries to compensate for the missing sense of sight. By the end of the first week, things start getting genuinely weird. Because your eyes are completely starved of light, the visual cortex in your brain refuses to just shut down and do nothing. Instead, it gets bored, and a bored brain loves to invent its own entertainment. You begin experiencing intense visual snow, bright floating colors, and vivid geometric patterns dancing in the dark. Soon, these morph into full-blown phantom lights. You'll catch yourself staring into the pitch black, absolutely convinced you saw a glowing flash or a flickering doorway, only to realize it was entirely generated inside your own skull. Your mind is trying so hard to see that it starts hallucinating shapes out of absolute nothingness. As you cross into the second and third weeks, the psychological toll becomes a heavy, crushing weight. Humans are visual creatures. We use sight to anchor ourselves to reality. Without it, your sense of time dissolves entirely. An hour feels like a week, and a day feels like a lifetime. Loneliness and sensory deprivation begin to fray your mental edges. You might start hearing faint whispers, voices, or background noises that aren't actually there, as your brain tries to fill the terrifying silence. Anxiety spikes, and simple rational thoughts become heavy chores. You aren't just living in the dark anymore. The dark is starting to live inside your head. By the final stretch, if you somehow manage to endure until day 30, your brain undergoes a remarkable, albeit terrifying, survival adaptation. Because you haven't used your eyes for a month, your brain starts to quietly repurpose your visual cortex. Neuroscientists have discovered that in total sensory deprivation, the regions of the brain normally dedicated to processing sight begin shifting tasks, sharpening your hearing and sense of touch to an almost superhuman degree. You can map out a room just by the subtle echoes of your own breathing. But when the month is finally over and the door is flung open, the shock is brutal. The real world looks blindingly bright, painful, and overwhelmingly chaotic to a brain that has forgotten what light even is. Spending 30 days in total darkness proves just how deeply connected our minds are to the physical world around us. Light isn't just something we use to see. It is the anchor that keeps our sanity safely tethered to reality. Thankfully, Quack survived his month in the shadows, though he is currently blinking furiously at the sunshine and wearing sunglasses indoors. Have you ever sat in a pitch-black room during a power outage and felt creeped out, or could you handle a week in the dark? Let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to hit subscribe to join the Quack Explanation family for more wild science facts and psychological adventures. Stay safe, stay curious, and I'll see you in the next one!